Wandering traders can only have the natives inside the tower. Registered things. But you know, even if you're more handsome than me, boss, it's a shame. It didn't work either. After hearing this, Park Sejun couldn't hold back the emotions in his heart anymore. Then he raised his head to the sky and roared at the entrance of the dungeon. It seems to be the grievance of being trapped in the dungeon for half a year. Shout them all. At this time, the rabbits were busy in the vegetable garden. They all stopped what they were doing. Even the little bees were surprised by this. Even the Black Tower administrator was also startled by the roar. 2.5 minutes later, Park Sejun finally came to his senses. All his dreams of going out to the Black Tower were shattered. There is no use even if you are angry. It will make you uncomfortable. So the farmer Park Sejun made a bold decision. Then stay in the Black Tower for the rest of your life. In a high-level office in Country H. The tabletop is impressively arranged. 2 magic tomatoes grown by universal mushrooms. The woman is Ginny, the representative of the pharmaceutical company Easter. He explained. These tomatoes were brought out of the tower by his younger brother. And it is recommended that men take advantage of the ability of awakening first. Check out his prop profile. The man is the vice president of GAR, a grain enterprise in Country H. Michael McLaren. After viewing the introduction of the small tomatoes. Not surprised. Nearly. It's a little tomato with a little bit of magic. Let's just listen to it. The woman smiled faintly. Unexpectedly. Sugar controls 39% of the world's food market. There are times when you look away. Then the woman snapped her fingers into the air. Followed by a flurry of reports emerges from the desktop projection. Clinical trials have shown the awoken, after eating the magic tomatoes, increases basal metabolic rate by 5% to 10%. For the unawakened, after consumption, the basal metabolic rate only increases by about 0.1%. The only thing is, it also breaks down 10 of the body grams of fat, and there are no side effects. We tried all the extraction methods. None of them were able to extract new ingredients from it. But the results of the study in a short period of time, far beyond my imagination. But Vice President Mike was puzzled. This is clearly a good project. Why tell him about it? Seeing this, Jenny told about a farm in the Black Tower. Planting projects. The master planner is none other than Mike, the owner of this office. There are no impermeable walls in the world. Presumably, Vice President Ning carried out this project in secret. It is nothing more than a substitute for the sick president. Go and run for the position of candidate. The above plot is undoubtedly shrouded in a huge net. Could it be that Park Sejun's entry into the Black Tower is not a coincidence? It's a long-planned one. He is a man comparable to Pei Yi in Korea. Just because the man just came out of the supermarket after buying discounted vegetables, he was summoned by the mysterious Black Tower. Then came one. In an empty dungeon where there are not even a single ghost. Luckily, he still has a big apple in his hand. A few small tomatoes, green onions, sweet potatoes, plus a bottle of the source of life. Only half a year has passed. He planted a large vegetable garden. In addition, there are 7 little rabbits, a hive of small bees and a queen, plus a silly orange cat that can talk. On this day, the man gathered everyone together for a meeting in the dungeon. He didn't stay in the dungeon for long. You'll have to go out of the dungeon and explore it yourself. He even planned it in advance. Let some of the little bees go out and keep an eye out. The most powerful of them. Help him tie the rope to the tree next to him. The rope is made from sun-dried green onion leaves. It said it became extremely strong, so that he can climb out little by little along the rope. The dungeon was a seamless plan. But this is the know-it-all wandering merchant cat Theo. Tell the bad news, yes. There's a very large monster around here. We all called him the Limson giant bear. I heard a figure come to mind. Theo said, oh, it's the giant red bear that appeared in the blue moon. Hear me describe. Theo's legs went limp. He said that every time he passed by the mouth of the giant bear's cave, there was a pair of eyes staring straight at him. If that's the case, then my plan to climb out of the dungeon has been put on hold for the time being. I'm not in such a hurry to get out. After all, the farm in the dungeon is also getting bigger. Even the little bees are multiplying more and more. That's right, that's it. I saw the man slowly stand up. Said to Theo, I have one very important thing to be handed over to our cat representatives. And only such a good person can do it. Knowing that Theo has resumed his status as representative, suddenly became full of fighting spirit. Just leave it to me. The screen turns. I've already sent Theo out on errands. I believe in his abilities. Definitely able to complete the task perfectly. By the way, please check it out. His sales abilities as a wandering businessman. Suddenly, the system box inside the tower popped up, and a pin task has been generated. Administrator of the Black Tower. Want to drink a glass of honey tomato juice like yours? Reward a farmer's vocational skill. It would be a shame if you refused. Seeing this, I hurriedly rejected the administrator's request. It's a hassle to squeeze tomato juice right now. I'll have to work on the vegetable field first. Your administrator has asked you to complete the task now. because the class skills awarded to you are too advanced. So you have to complete the task as soon as possible. Take a look at the rewards, said the administrator. This reward will definitely not disappoint you. After reading the prompts that pop up continuously, I'm confused. Since it's so good, why don't you just give me skills? The line administrator says to complete the task to receive the reward. It's the rule. Can't change. And the administrator reminds you. It is not a virtue to get something for nothing. I didn't expect the administrator of this dungeon to have a good view. I really can't help you. Just because it was 2.5 minutes ago. I'll give it to the animals in the dungeon. Each squeezed a glass of tomato juice. Then comes the administrator's additional task. What a gluttonous administrator. Immediately, I held dozens of tomatoes in the palm of my hand. Suddenly, the boyfriend power in my whole body exploded. Dozens of small tomato sounds exploded. And I looked up behind the wind. Now only the most critical step remains. After listening to the wind, I don't ink. Slowly spit out a large mouthful of fresh honey from your mouth. The honey forms a bubble in the air. With the direction of the plump fingers, honey bubbles pop into the squeezed tomato juice. A glass of honey tomato juice is freshly baked. The viscous tomato juice is infused with a rich honey finish. The taste becomes sweeter and more layered. Occasional chewed tomato pieces. It will make people feel the sweet and sour fun. The administrator of the Black Tower was constantly flapping his wings. Very, very curious about the taste of honey tomato juice. Immediately, the green onion cup in his hand disappeared. He just said what the administrator meant by flapping his wings. Could it be that the caretaker is not an animal? And at this time inside the top floor of the Black Tower. Administrator Aaron Brittany. I drank all the tomato juice in one go. Tomato sour with honey. The sweet taste surrounds the mouth. It's a feeling that no amount of words can describe. Drip Black Tower Administrator. Give a strong compliment to the juice you make. That being the case, don't hurry up and hand out the rewards. Please check the task rewards. Drop to reap special class rewards. Gain beekeeping skills. The only user of this skill registered in the current level. All poisonous bee honeycomb skills. Yes, it has been detected that the number of currently registered cells is full. Read the introduction to the skills. The man was shocked. I didn't expect it to be a beekeeping skill that just matched me. A random detailed description of the skill popped up. If you have honeycomb, not beekeeping. Second, the bees in the hive are not hostile to the hive owner. You can do it on your hive. Bees make more specific instructions. The third possessed hive. The field of activity of bees has risen substantially. The rate at which the queen bee lays eggs rises rapidly. The rate at which bees collect honey has risen dramatically. There will be a slight increase in the probability of moisture. Fourth, currently having a hive has reached its limit. Originally, I was worried about going out of the dungeon. The little bees are disobedient. I didn't expect to acquire beekeeping skills right away. Are you a roundworm in my stomach, Administrator? Thank you so much. At this time, Administrator Aaron hears Park Sejun's thanks. Stunned in place. Are you a roundworm in my stomach, Administrator? Suddenly, his face flushed slightly pink. Then he said slowly to Park Sejun on the other end. If you want to thank me, why don't you bring me another glass of honey tomato juice? Forthwith, Park Sejun said that tomato juice is naturally no problem. But he wanted to ask the administrator a question first. Combined with my observation of you for half a year. Draw conclusions. Excuse me, admin. Are you a winged bead? As soon as the words fell, the temperature on the top floor of the Black Tower seems to have plummeted to freezing. Immediately the administrator to Park Sejun. A warm greeting lasted for 2.5 minutes. Immediately after that, all functions of the system were instantly shut down. This orange cat is a wandering merchant full of wisdom. Just take a selfie. In exchange for priceless cat strips. It is also a magic tomato planted in the Universal County. Speculation sky-high prices. For this reason, I deliberately entrusted him with the important task. Business. Be sure to put the price of the magic tomato up. Therefore, Theo the orange cat has once again come to the 38th floor of the Black Tower. Unexpectedly, there are already a lot of humans stationed here. But that's not a bad thing for Theo. The more people there are, the better it is for his tomato sales. With that, Geo jumped directly from a height of 50 meters. Then landed firmly behind the two humans. Followed by, Theo greeted each other warmly. Dear humanity. Your favorite Theo. Here I go again. As soon as the words fell, the people in the tent all rushed over. I don't know, I thought I was attacked by a monster. I saw that the first fat man immediately ran to him and hold up a bag full of Dindin coins. Tell Theo about all the magic tomatoes here. I bought them all. The crowd was not pleased. He bought them all. What about others? Seeing this, Theo hurriedly stopped the two who were about to fight. You two humans, don't worry. Hear me out first. I've changed the way magic tomatoes are sold today. Hear Theo's words. The two of them stopped. Then Theo Dandins told everyone. From now on, the highest bidder. It is possible to purchase 500 small tomatoes at a time. and the starting price of the auction is 35 tar coin. Today I brought a total of 1,500 baby tomatoes. So there will be 3 bids today. Everyone froze in place. Most of them don't have that many taps. I didn't expect it to be a one-time auction today. That's when it happened. Kim Dong-sik, the leader of the Phoenix Guild on the side, equally stunned. If he can't buy baby tomatoes this time, when you go home, you will definitely be scolded to death by your daughter. As a slave to his daughter, decisively gather the members of the Phoenix Guild. Be sure to take a picture of the tomatoes. Not enough for tower coins. Let's just put the tower coins together. After saying that, he immediately shouted out the 41 tower. The auction amount of the coin. A fat man headed by a sturdy, hurriedly increased the amount to 45 tat. With a burst of gossip shouting, the amount of the first auction of 500 small tomatoes. It's come to 50 tar coin. At this time, Kim Dong-sik hurriedly asked his teammates, and there is no extra money. Unexpectedly, his little fan sister just didn't bring the tower coin into the tower today. Suddenly, a loud voice shouted out 100 taels. The person who came was the first 2 episodes. Vice President of the enterprise, which controls 39% of the world food market. I didn't expect him to come to the Black Tower in person. And the crowd snapped up small tomatoes. Meow meow is you. Congratulations to 100 tap coin for successfully auctioning 500 small tomatoes. Because of Vice President Mike's prestige, everyone present knew about it. So few people dared to compete with him for the little tomatoes. But the team leader, Kim Dong-sik, really couldn't figure it out. How can a leader in a high position appear here? Suddenly, the face of an acquaintance caught his eye. Looked at. Kim Dong-sik immediately stepped forward to question Chris. You bastard. You must have leaked the news of Little Tomato. I saw that the person who came was my respected Toshiba team leader. Chris hurriedly explained to the other party. It was my sister Jenny who made me do it. I didn't mean to sabotage your buying plans. After listening to Kim Dong-sik, he understood the reason. But I didn't expect it. The news of Little Tomato spread so quickly. Meanwhile, Theo announced to the crowd. There are 2 more auctions today. Everyone should actively participate. This is a magic tomato that dissolves fat. The original price of 0.05 tar coin. It was actually fried to 0.2 tower coins by humans. It's all there. All thanks to the genius wandering merchant Theo the cat. Just because he was in the Black Tower. For the first time, the auction was used to sell goods. Small tomatoes at the first auction. The captain of the Phoenix Union, Jingdong Jiban, could have joined the team. Friends take a picture of 500 small tomatoes. Unexpectedly, a heavyweight appeared. Disrupted all his plans. The person who came was Mike, the vice president of H Grain Enterprise. It's even more shot. Pulled the auction amount to a terrifying 100 tower coins. This price is enough to crush everyone present. Soon Theo's second auction is about to begin. Captain Kim Dong-neo is bound to take the little tomato into his pocket. I simply locked all the 60 tower coins in my pocket. Didn't wait for Kim Dong-ji to finish speaking. Vice President Mike once again heroically shouted out 100 tar coin. Because of the identity of the other party, Kim Dong-neo has a bad seizure. He can only keep begging his teammates to lend him some tower coins. No doubt, Vice President Mike. I took a second shot of 500 grams of cherry tomatoes. Just as Theo shouted that the last auction was going to begin, Mike shouted out 100 tart coins again. Shut everyone's mouths. Today, he was determined to buy all the tomatoes. One yen Captain Jean Dongji fell to his knees in frustration. If you don't buy a magic tomato today, the position of the head of his family may not be guaranteed. And maybe you don't have a home. After the auction, Theo silently put away the 300 taels and 1,500 magic tomatoes. As a matter of course, it was taken in by Vice President Mike. Mike picks up the tomatoes. Reveal your signature fantasies. Thankfully, he came to the Black Tower in person today. Then he hurriedly led people out of the 38th floor. Just as Theo was about to leave, the 2 young ladies hurriedly stopped him. Theo recognized the person who had come from the human, who had taken the picture with him last time, and get a lot of delicious cat strips because of it. But he doesn't seem to remember his name. The girl took out a cat strip for Theo. His name is Inshio River. This time you can still take pictures in exchange for cat strips. However, Theo decisively rejected Yingxia's request. In the last time, it's because of the act of taking pictures in exchange for cat strips, led to himself being ecumenical, guilty of signing a treaty without permission. But Theo's style of painting has changed. But if you exchange it for coffee with a package similar to cat strips, he can take pictures with humans. After listening to this, Inshioha took out instant coffee. Asked, is it okay to have this? Seeing this, Theo asked if the other party had any endorsements, or pepper or something like that. Those can be exchanged with him. Unexpectedly, the girl Inshioha also brought these. Brother Tian was suspicious at this time. He's a wandering merchant sent by the human side. Orient to mention, the scene returns to the Black Tower. Just because Theo was before leaving, Park Shijun specially told him, if asked to take a picture by a human, You have to exchange it for some coffee or condiments. Theo quickly made a deal with the two girls. After the photo was taken, Inshioha is very satisfied with this. Thank you again, and again to Theo. One Theo stretched out his meow hand to shake hands with humans. With these things to take back, he can enjoy that representation exclusively. However, when Unsu and Theo shake hands, a warm, soft touch reached his fingertips. The palms of the hands that look like pink jelly are so healing. At this time, Theomon looked at the other human in a circle. What's wrong with you? Seeing this, Yingxiu hurriedly took out the cat strip and handed it to Theo. Touched Theo's little hand. It makes him feel very satisfied. He was paid extra for these things. Because cats in human society. He doesn't like shaking hands with humans. Theo was shocked when he heard this. He lived so long in the Black Tower. It was only the first time I discovered that I was touching my hand with a human. You can even exchange it for something. A new business opportunity sprouted in his mind. At this time, another girl also wants to take a picture with Theo. He provided the pepper just now. Seeing this, Theo also fulfilled his promise. Even more so after the photo shoot. Directly stretched out his meow hand. Human, I know you want to touch my hands too. But remember to pay after touching it. Finally, Theo from the two human maidens. In exchange for a full number of items. Sure enough, I earned it with my own hands. It's the most satisfying. Here you have these. After returning to the dungeon, I'm afraid you have to be a 24-hour representative. Come to think of it. Theo stopped. He still seems to have something very important to do. Meanwhile, Inshioha looked at the circle of friends he edited. That's what he's here for. He was very skeptical about this. Suddenly, Theo's voice came from behind him. Scared him aback. Theo then asked Un Soho. I guess I'm a human from the Republic of Korea. Because of the smell on your body, it tastes a lot like my boss. But human Yao, can you do me a favor? Moon Yen Inshio and stunned in place. Was he being asked for help by that cute cat? The screen turns. Come to the Captain Kim Dong-sik. He sat down on the stone and fell into deep chagrin. He didn't buy small tomatoes. I really have a home, but I don't dare to go back. Suddenly, Inshioha's voice came from behind him. I saw Theo, the official wandering merchant who was traveling with him. The captain wandering merchant has something to say to you. And Theo asks if the man is the captain of the Phoenix Union. After getting the other party's affirmation, Theo sincerely stretched out his jelly meow hand. Captain, would you like to sign me a contract? It is a dream profession for humans all over the world. Just enter the Black Tower and participate in cleaning up monsters. You can get a subsidy of 10 million yuan from the government. Park Sejun, who just graduated. I also want to be a part of the awakened. Change the miserable situation where the poor can only buy leftovers. Maybe everything has a definite number. The invitation to enter the Black Tower actually appeared. His eyes have been around since then. Park Sejun began his journey to the Black Tower. Half a year passed quickly. In the dungeon on the 99th floor of the Black Tower, industrious worker bees. In the tomato orchard planted by Park Sejun, pollen is collected. The brewed honey is then spit into a bottle of mineral water. Since Park Sejun after gaining beekeeping skills from the administrator, it is also quite handy to arouse these poisonous bees. Meantime, his beekeeping skills are also improving. But what surprised him was, he hadn't seen the queen bee in days. Is he laying eggs again? That's when it happened. A notification from the Black Tower class system. What catches your eye? It is a detailed introduction to the professional skills of beekeeping. The 22 episodes of Heavenly Song have been talked about in detail. I won't expand on it here, but it's worth mentioning. At this point, the upper limit of the number of cells becomes 2. Other words, I can now manage 2 hives. And the barrels I use to store my honey are also in dire need of addition. But it's too early to think about those. The most important at the moment. Harvesting fertile carrots, of course. Then I shouted at the rabbits, guys. It's time for extra meals. The first batch of fresh carrots. Of course, it's for the rabbit heroes to enjoy first. To harvest sharp carrots, your class XP will increase slightly. Level 2 harvest skill proficiency is slightly increased when gaining character experience. After seeing the carrot in my hand, the rabbits were all moved. Tears flowed from his mouth, and then, one by one, they took the carrots from me. For this reason, the rabbits fell to their knees. Thank you. If it weren't for me, they simply can't eat a wide variety of foods. So we gathered around the campfire, started our carrot lunch. Meantime, I am very excited about the properties of this new variety. To know the small tomatoes grown in the Black Tower. After eating, it is not only able to dissolve fat, it also temporarily increases mana. Grown sweet potatoes dissolve fat when eaten. It can also temporarily increase strength. Forthwith, the Black Tower system pops up a detailed description of the carrot. Agile carrots are grown inside the tower. Carrots become delicious when they are fully nutritious. After consumption, 10 grams of fat in the body will be broken down. and physical agility rises by 0.1 in 10 minutes. However, the effect can be repeated up to 10 times in an hour. If consumed consistently, vision will improve. The cultivator is the farmer of the Black Tower. Circularity of Palzobacterium. The shelf life is 30 days. The crop grade is grade 1. After reading all the features of carrots, unexpectedly, all of the crops grown in the Black Tower dissolve fat. If handed over to the wandering merchant after need, it can also be marketed as a new product. And Brother Tion heard about it. Eating more carrots can also improve night vision. There is an iron that understands. You can help Brother Tion explain it in the comment area. After lunch, the bunnies have begun. Carrots are harvested in full swing. They can be preserved well with green onion leaves. However, just when the harvest is in full swing, I saw the black rabbit fall to the ground with a click. I hurriedly stepped forward to check if there was anything wrong with the other party, but I found him eating carrots on his stomach. Seeing this, Daddy Bunny, the car skillfully kicked the black rabbit a few times. It seems that he is not surprised by the behavior of the children. That's when it happened. A flurry of experience hints popped up. My peasant level has unknowingly risen to level 10. Followed by, a new task reminder pops up in the Black Tower system. I hurriedly asked the administrator what was going on. The administrator says he's not here. Seemingly, the stingy administrator is still angry about what happened last time. Just because I said, he is a flying pig with wings. This is a level 10 career quest. Only through the task, to gain access to new class traits, and unlock the next level. After seeing the administrator's explanation, it dawned on me. It's the same as the in-game career change mission. Generally speaking, class quest for mages or warrior awokens. It's a crusade against monsters. Defeat 100 giant oak monsters, or 500 slub cotton monsters. And I am the only farmer profession in Hythery. My professional assignment. I actually cleared my farmland to 50 square meters. I didn't expect it to be this seemingly simple task. They almost sent me and the rabbits away en masse. Congratulations on completing your career mission. Your farmer class level has been upgraded to level 11. Complete quests to earn star coins. According to the characteristics of the profession, experience points are gained for each level of wasteland. But the price of getting the job done is, I'm too tired now to do anything. That being the case, let's rest early today. By the way, let the rabbits relax too. Meanwhile, the bunnies who were about to go home. But he was stopped at the door by a big hand. The master of this big hand. It's their rabbit daddy whose blood is thicker than water. Then Daddy Rabbit slammed the door shut. The sudden change made the rabbits stunned in place. Even if they were about to knock on the door, it wouldn't help. Seeing this, I went over to the rabbits. It's also normal for rabbits to be kicked out of the house. After all, they are now all adult white rabbits and black rabbits. But it's too late to rebuild a rabbit nest. Thereupon, 5 rabbit cubs and I were huddled together in a bed. Once in a while, I have this experience. It feels pretty good. Now I looked comfortably above the dungeon. I don't know what happened to Theo. The wandering merchant Theo the cat stretched out his hand again. Puff puff meow hand. He was ready to make a deal with the man in front of him. Captain Kim Dong-sik hurriedly looked at it. In the contents of the same transaction, it is for Park Sejun's family who lives in Sosagu, Buche. 50 million followed. Theometh added. It is also necessary for the captain to tell his parents. Mr. Park Sejun is doing well in the Black Tower. In exchange, Theo, I'll give you 50 tar coins. And Theo pulled out a basket of small tomatoes from his bag. These 200 magic tomatoes will also be your reward. See a basket full of magic tomatoes. Jing Dong was stunned in place. Time back in 2.5 minutes. He was very upset that he didn't bid for the tomatoes. If you didn't buy baby tomatoes, the daughter will definitely hate him as a father. With these 200 small tomatoes, now I finally don't have to worry about it anymore. But soon the Captain Jing Dong reacted straight. Wandering merchant cat Theo would actually help a citizen of country age to make a transaction. Oh, did he find himself in any difficult situation in the Black Tower? When Yen Theo did not answer immediately, he remembered when he was in the dungeon. The boss Park Shijun explained to him, no matter who asks, he has to keep the boss's secret on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Theo then explained to Kim Dong-neo, he's just digging for the county. It's just the commission I received on the 40th floor of the Black Tower. After hearing what Theo said, Kim Dongji suddenly became not calm. They are the Phoenix Guild, but the team that cleared the layers of the Black Tower the fastest. It's not easy. It was only then that the 38th floor was clear to where it is now. At this point, Theo suddenly interrupted the man. His boss is Pu Shijun. He is a great and mysterious man. Naturally, there will be many secrets that no one knows. Kim Dong-sik had never heard of it. No vacant. You can go to that high number of floors alone, even if they are the best team in the whole country. However, progress in conquering floor 39 is still very slow. The man in the mouth of the wandering merchant's cat does not belong to any guild. That's a really good opportunity now. It can even be taken in one fell swoop. Monopoly purchase rights of magic tomatoes. It also shows that I thought of this. Kim Dongji agreed without hesitation. A deal with Theo. Under Theo's guidance. Kim Dong is straight below the contract. Signed his name. With the reminder of the Black Tower system. The contract between the two parties was officially signed. The man picks up the tower coin and 200 magic tomatoes. He promised Theo. All the contents of the contract will be completed within 10 days. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, after the rabbit couple kicked the rabbits out of the house, Park Sejun had to talk to the rabbits. Crowded together under a blanket. It was just dawn the next day. The rabbits immediately started building new nests. See movement. Park Sejun hurriedly stepped forward to check. The scene in front of him simply appeared in his eyes. It's just one morning. The rabbits made 2 decent houses. Used green onion leaves as a roof. The mud is dried with water to make a strong wall. There was even a small bed where you could take a break halfway through. Park Sejun doted on the rabbit. It is worthy of being a bunny baby trained by himself. Case, why don't you give them a feast for a new house? Soon one person and 7 rabbits sat down together. You can encounter them in the harsh dungeons. It's really a blessing that Park Sejun cultivated in his last life. The black rabbit was even more clever in inventing the carrot cup. It's like a cone. It is possible to eat the cup after drinking the water. But Park Sejun looked up and saw it. Yesterday, a bunny couple who kicked the rabbits out of the house with their own hands. Not only do they have no guilt at all. Instead, he became more affectionate. Seeing this, Park Sejun silently said to the black rabbit, I think you'll soon have a new brother. The younger siblings heard this. The black rabbit looked blindfolded. I don't understand what I mean. That's when it happened. A system notification popped up. The system shows that the seed shop is open again. Unexpectedly, another month passed. Park Sejun almost forgot. There's also the idea of buying seeds with tower coins. Then he couldn't wait to open the store. I saw that the 3 seed options faded out. They are 100 potato seeds for 5 totters, 0.5 tat 100 strawberry seeds, and 0.1 tat 1,000 lettuce seeds. See lettuce seeds. Prevotella was shocked. This is the lettuce that is often used when everyone grills meat. But soon Paul's was knocked to the ground by reality. He can't get his hands on pork right now. There is no lettuce and there is no slice. Park Sejun is not short of tower coins right now. But for now, carbohydrate potato seeds is his first choice. Immediately, Park Sejun chose to buy 100 potato seeds for 5 totters. Then a series of prompts popped up. From Park Sejun's seed bank account, 5 tart coins were deducted. You've earned 50 seed store credits. You now have a total of 56 seed store credits. You can use it again after 30 days. Level 1 seed shop. Thank you for using the seed store. As soon as the word fell, a bag appears out of thin air above the head of the bee flexoria, and it was coming at him at great speed. Fortunately, Park Sejun is agile. Avoided this crisis. Otherwise, he would have turned into a pie before he could eat the potatoes. Meantime, the rabbit couple was also scared half to death by the loud noise. Put the atmosphere of the 2-person world that they have finally created. Destruction. Park Sejun hurriedly stepped forward to check the fallen potato seeds. This is completely a ready-to-use potato. But planting is the survival plan for sustainable development. Think of fragrant mashed potatoes and pancakes. He drooled. So Park Sejun. A task was given to the rabbit. All the potatoes will be planted from tomorrow. Then again, Theo. He seems to have been out for quite some time. I don't know if the task given to him has been completed. This is the central merchant district of the Black Tower. Wandering merchants would gather here to trade. At the same time, it is also a check-in place for all residents of the Black Tower to go shopping. I saw only one figure. I'm rummaging through a stall for something. He is none other than the stray merchant cat. Theo, according to the instructions of his boss Park Sejun, come and buy the items of human life. Immediately, Theo asked the boss with the pot. How many TWs do these cost? The clerk looks very much like Era's boss and said casually. They are worth a total of 1.6 Taiwan dollars. At this time, Theo doesn't care what price the boss quotes. He had already prepared his rhetoric. Asked the boss to help play a drum. Hearing this, the boss of Era was very shocked. This is the first time anyone has asked him to discount. In the end, the boss quoted Theo a price of 1.5 tax. Hear about the offer of only 0.1 tar coin. Theo was not happy for a moment, begging the boss to give him a little more concession. But the boss saw that the other party was a new face. Simply clasp your hands in front of your chest. Never let go again. Seeing this, Theo threw the goods to the boss. Turn around and get ready to leave. This sudden change stunned the boss. Hurriedly ran forward to stop Theo, who wanted to leave. Isn't it okay to sell you 1.3 tar coin? Hearing this, Theo raised 2 fingers with confidence. Now I'll consider 1.2 tar coin. Ultimately, the boss of Era could only tearfully agree to Theo's proposal. Hearing this, Theo put down 1.2 tower coins violently. Then I picked up the goods and ran outside. The boss looked at Theo's back and sighed. He thought the other party was a businessman rookie. I didn't expect to run into a bargaining master. That's when it happened. The bucket on the side caught his eye. I saw a strange mark next to the tower coin. On the other side, Theo ran into the alley and stopped. Now his mood is actually tense to death. Puff puff. The palms of the hands also unconsciously came out a lot. However, it is the opposite of the experience of being deceived a few months ago. Now finally not buying goods like an idiot. It's all thanks to his boss, Park Sejun. A course specially given to him. First of all, when buying goods, no matter how much the other party bids, I'll have to ask the other party for a discount. The second step is when the other person rejects you. It is necessary to leave decisively. If they stop you. This brings us to the third step. It is to ask the other party again for a discount. If you can do the above 3 points, you won't be deceived. Sure enough, Park Sejun is his all-powerful boss. After practice, Theo was full of confidence. He vowed never to be deceived again. That's when it happened. A familiar voice came from the side. This thing came from outside the tower. At this time the profiteer's golem is coaxing other people to buy his goods. What bad can I have? I just want to help more novice traders become a high-level businessman. As the so-called enemies meet, they are very red-eyed. Theo finally meets Golem again. Black Tower crop magic tomatoes. Sold all over the world overnight. It's all thanks to this. This wandering merchant with only turquoise eyes. Theo. He is no longer the little white who was bullied by profiteers. Now, meet an old acquaintance Golem again in the Black Tower. Theo rolled up his sleeves with a gloomy face. He's going to get back everything he's lost. Then he yelled at Golem and slammed Golem. I finally found you. The person who came was Theo, a former novice businessman. Golem hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed his arm. Kind like an old friend who hasn't seen him for 900 years. Yushio shook off his opponent's arm with all his might. He couldn't have imagined that this profiteer's face would be so good. At the beginning, Theo spent all his possessions. Magical items purchased from him. It's all garbage from outside the tower. If it weren't for the boss Park Sejun who gave him a princess, Theo may have been a parody somewhere in the Black Tower. Koskalam showed no remorse at all. He thinks Theo has sold the magic items. Will appear here. At that time, Skalam was in the merchant rankings. But Theo's name was clearly visible. Theo wouldn't listen to the Bulister's nonsense. Then he pointed to the novice merchant on the side and said loudly, "This broken thermos. It's just cut off from the outside world and blocked the flow of heat. This results in a slow drop in temperature. And this profiteer will tell you for sure. They have magic." Hearing this, Skalam broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't know why Theo knew this, but he still smiled and told the two that it was just a misunderstanding. That's when it happened. 2 patrol guards passed by at the street entrance. Theo hurriedly shouted that help was needed here. Seeing this, Skalam knew that the tide was turning. Leave aside a cruel sentence, the mountains and rivers meet. After that, he fled in another direction in embarrassment. Seeing the other person leave, Theo breathed a sigh of relief. Another novice businessman hurriedly thanked Theo. Hearing this, Theo smiled proudly. He was very satisfied with his heroic act. Then he walked away handsomely and said that there is no need for any reciprocation from the other party. But wait for Theo to leave. The novice merchant looked serious. It seems that the identity of this newbie is not simple. Then he shouted into the air. I saw a few figures disappear from the roof. The next second, 3 handsome figures appeared in front of him. The novice merchant slowly took it off. Cap. It turns out that this novice businessman has another identity. It's a secret undercover agent. Inspectorate agent in the Wandering Traders Association. Agent Zaret. However, at this time, several of his subordinates were very nervous. Because they had already deployed everything within a 100-meter radius. Unexpectedly, I was mixed in by an orange cat halfway through. Interrupted the plan. That's it. Zaret also had to modify the plan on an ad hoc basis. Then he said lightly to his subordinates, the 3 of you, write me 100 letters of review and give them to me. After saying that, he left alone. Only 3 subordinates who were already trembling with fear were left. He worked hard to prepare a 3-month arrest plan. Is this the end of the story? Because the source of the purchase of Digging Kalam could not be found. So he had to pretend to be a novice businessman. Lure the other person upstairs. Although the plan was interrupted. But he seems to have thought of a better way. The cat named Theo said that he had been deceived by Skalam. Maybe I can be on him. Learn key facts about Skalam. At this time, Theo walked back to the dungeon with a happy face. How did he know? He inadvertently sabotaged a capture operation. The man exchanged 25 small tomatoes for 100 potatoes. Just because. He had a monopoly on the trade in all the crops in the Black Tower. And not only the price of all vegetables is set by him. Even the captain of the Phoenix Guild has reached a cooperation with him. At this time, Park Sejun looked at the potato in his hand. A brilliant idea came to life. He then gestured to the sickle rabbit. I saw the sickle rabbit hand up and down. The potatoes were neatly divided into 4 pieces. Next, all you need is Daddy Rabbit to pour the source of life in the soil. Then put the potato cubes into the soil one by one. And covered. This will give them access to 400 potato seedlings. Although the scale is not large, but it's also an amount. Outside a harvest. That's a brilliant idea. Thanks to his daily surfing lessons outside the tower. Suddenly, a notification came from the Black Tower system. Congratulations. A 33 square meter potato field was created. You gained 10 XP. Then Park Sejun said to the rabbits. Now that the potatoes are all planted. But now, it's time to go harvest some sweet potatoes for lunch. Until then, though, he had to tell the rabbit. Before digging up the sweet potato, remove all the sweet potato sprouts. Hearing this, the rabbit sat limply on the ground. That's a very big project. But the black rabbit reacted quickly. They were in their infancy. The cultivation of sweet potato seedlings that was once stopped by Park County. Just because the system prompts. He had to plant the crops with his own hands. To gain XP and skill proficiency. So the black rabbit thinks they don't have to work now. Hearing this, the 3 rabbits almost couldn't help but laugh. But just while the rabbits are busy stealing fun, Park Sejun had already guessed what they were thinking. He even made a decision about it. Since you want to build your own agricultural empire, sacrifice a little XP and proficiency. What's the matter? After that, the 3 rabbits fell into deep despair again. Soon led by the bunny couple. Each rabbit makes use of its own natal item. Work was carried out to carry sweet potato seedlings. A rabbit with a sickle and scissors, responsible for cutting sweet potato seedlings. And the rabbit with a cart. It is responsible for carrying cut sweet potato seedlings. Even the warrior black rabbit was assigned to work with his bare hands. It made him choke on exhaustion. I don't know how long it has been. Follow the prompts of the system. Park Sejun knows. They have successfully cultivated 500 square meters of sweet potatoes. Even if he wasn't all involved in farming. But he also gained a lot of experience points by clearing the wasteland. For this reason, the rabbits even presented a dance. I'm a mother-father gentleman. I'm A. I'm a mother-father gentleman. I'm A. I'm a mother-father gentleman. It's a song. Park Sejun was shocked. That's when it happened. The administrator explained to Park Sejun. The little white rabbits are looking forward to a bumper harvest of sweet potatoes. Reputedly, it is a bountiful cheering dance dedicated to Tannen. Administrator said. He could already smell the roasted sweet potato. After hearing this, Park Sejun hurriedly knelt on the ground. Look at the sweet potatoes that are about to be harvested. Suddenly, a golden light erupted from beneath him. There was a fierce light in the sweet potato field. Park Sejun wanted to know, what the hell is going on inside the land? Just the moment the soil was dug up, a glowing object appeared in front of everyone. Congratulations to the sun for harvesting sweet potato pumpkins. This is a mutated pumpkin sweet potato. After absorbing sunlight at the highest point of the tower, possession of the energy of the sun, when in use, it can burn 100 grams of body fat and provides 24-hour cold resistance. Then another notification popped up. Park Sejun, who read the content, was shocked. 2.5 years you've earned. The achievement of breeding new species in the tower. Meanwhile, outside the tower, in the H-Country Buchan Sosa district, a limousine slowly stopped. I saw a man get out of the driver's seat. It turned out to be Kim Dong-sik, the captain of the Phoenix Union. He came this time. It is to fulfill the agreement with Park Sejun. Sent a huge sum of 50 million to Park Sejun's parents. The man uses only 200 small tomatoes. It was sold for a high price of 50 million. But get the money. He didn't use it to procure supplies outside the tower. Instead, they were given to their parents who lived outside the tower. Just because he was trapped in the Black Tower. I have been a farmer for half a year. But he wasn't bored. You can even use your professional skills. Development of new varieties of vegetables. Immediately after that, a series of system messages popped up. You've got it. The achievement of spawning new varieties in the tower. Harvested under the sun. Sweet potato pumpkin work experience increased slightly. Level 2 harvesting skill proficiency is slightly increased. You gain 10 experience. This tower grants you an exclusive new variety to grow. Without your permission, no one can grow a sun sweet potato pumpkin. After reading the message, Park Sejun was shocked. Unexpectedly, he inadvertently developed a new variety of sweet potatoes. It has also obtained an exclusive license from the Black Tower. But Park Sejun is not like Blue Moon sweet potato. Share with rabbits. Instead, the mutated sweet potatoes were planted in the soil again. After all, this is the best option. Sun sweet potato pumpkin is such a good thing. He had to find a way to get more. Immediately, Park Sejun swept away the previous haze. He seems to be enjoying the profession more and more. After this, Park Sejun continues to collect fertile sweet potatoes. Even the bunny's cart was stuffed to the brim. Now they can enjoy delicious sweet potatoes again. It was served as lunch. Soon the collection was all over. The piranhas and sweet potatoes have been set up by the fire. Park Sejun held a small branch and kept turning the sweet potato. The delicate body immediately aimed at the sweet potato. He stabbed it with a stick. Wait for the branch to be pulled out again. There is also a slight loose sweet potato meat. This is how sweet potatoes are roasted. Park Sejun hurriedly greeted the rabbits. Artificially cool the sweet potatoes together. The next second after the sweet potato is broken, the aroma of roasted sweet potatoes comes to your nose. Look at that. The rabbits' tears couldn't help but flow down their mouths. In the small cart rabbit on the other side, it has already begun to gobble. The rabbits who had tasted it sighed one after another. This is compared to the blue moon sweet potatoes they ate when they were younger. Worse then, because the rabbit daddy is too embarrassed to eat. He almost choked on the sweet potato in his throat. That's when it happened. The administrator sent a message to Park Sejun. His saliva had fallen to the ground, and asked when it will be his turn to eat roasted sweet potatoes. Seeing this, Park Sejun remembered. The big fat pig hasn't been fed to him yet. Quickly handed over 10 sweet potatoes that had already been baked. After feeding everyone, Park Sejun looked at the roasted sweet potato in front of him thoughtfully. Then he called out to the sickle rabbit, which had already been eaten early. Park Sejun said, "There's a delicious dish that needs his cooperation." At this time on the top floor of the Black Tower, a giant hand, the skin of a roasted sweet potato is being carefully torn apart. Fertile roasted sweet potatoes in front of the administrator. It's like a small melon seed snack. After peeling off the epidermis, he threw the roasted sweet potato into his own abyss contentedly. The giant mouth administrator just felt like he had a taste, only to find that 10 roasted sweet potatoes had been eaten by themselves. Just as he hesitated, when continuing to negotiate with Park Sejun for roasted sweet potatoes, only to find the picture presented by the crystal ball, scratching his head. At this time, Park Sejun was roasting sweet potatoes, lie neatly on top of the green onion leaves. This is his new dish on a whim. He was turning all the sweet potato fries over and drying them one by one. Immediately, Park Sejun said to the sickle bunny, "Why don't you make me some more sweet potato fries?" Hearing the side bunny put the roasted sweet potato with the skin removed, thrown into the air, followed by, he took the scythe and swung it at the sweet potato casually twice. The next second, the roasted sweet potato turned into a thick pile of sweet potato skin. Park Sejun's technique against the sickle rabbit expressed great satisfaction. The administrator couldn't stand it for a moment. He didn't understand why Park Sejun was wasting all this food. Eat the roasted sweet potatoes directly. Doesn't it smell? For me, hurriedly show it to the administrator. I'm creating a new dynamic. I don't know if you've ever heard of dried sweet potatoes, administrator. Meanwhile, the fifth smallest in the Phoenix Union in Country H, the captain of the team, Kim Dong-sik, he was standing in front of Park Sejun's house. The man received a suicide note written by his son. I thought I wanted the white-haired person to send the black-haired person. Unexpectedly, inside was a huge check for $50 million. Just 2.5 minutes ago, a strange man knocked on their door. I hear the other person asking, "Is this Park Sejun's home?" I only heard hurried footsteps in the room. Then the door slammed open. 3 nervous faces came into view. You can see the strange man in black in front of you. Park Sejun's family was puzzled. After learning about the other party's intention, Kim Dong-sik was invited into the house and sat down. Immediately, Park Sejun's father said, "His son, Park Sejun, has been missing for half a year." When Kim Dong-sik hurriedly handed over his business card and ceremoniously introduced, "He is the captain of the 5th squad of the Phoenix Guild." Kim Dong-sik hears Park Sejun's younger brother, Park Se-suk. It becomes not calm. He trembled and took his business card to look at it. Sure enough, it is the name of the famous Phoenix Guild. This is the top awakening guild of the authoritative Chu state. The awakened inside are the best of the best. Wonyon Park Sejun's family is like a great enemy. How can there be a big guy with such a strong background? Come to your own home as a guest. Seeing this, Kim Dong-sik hurriedly said, "He came here at the behest of Mr. Park Sejun." Wonyon Park Sejun's parents were stunned for a moment. Immediately, Kim Dong-sik took out an envelope from his clothes and slowly handed it to Park Sejun's parents. See the envelope. Park Sejun's family suddenly felt extremely sad. How could his poor son be so short-lived? Just after puberty, something happened to me. Look that. Kim Dong-sik knew that the other party had misunderstood the meaning of the envelope. Quickly clarified that this was not a suicide note. After hearing this, Daddy Park Sejun held back his tears and tremblingly opened the envelope. When he saw that it was a huge 50 million bill, shocked down, Kim Dong-sik said, "This is Mr. Park Sejun's entrustment in the Black Tower. Let me give you something. He's doing well in the Black Tower." Wonyon Park Sejun's father was overjoyed. He already knew that his son Park Sejun was galloping in the middle of things. Don't look at who his dad is. And Only Park Sejun's mother was very calm. He asked Kim Dong-sik, why didn't Park Sejun bring things back in person? Hearing this, Kim Dong-sik didn't know the specific reason, but still explained to the other party. There will be a lot of surprises inside the Black Tower. It is also very common to be unable to get out temporarily. Kim Dong-sik's painting style changed. Asked Park Sejun's younger brother. You just said, Mr. Park Sejun has been missing for half a year. Don't you know? Has he already entered the Black Tower? Younger brother Park Shurshur said. It started on a certain day half a year ago. I can't contact my brother. Meantime, they also contacted the Awakening Guild as soon as possible. I would like to inquire about it. Is there any registration information for his brother Park Sejun to enter the tower? But the other party informed. We don't have any news about my brother. Hearing this, Kim Dongji was even more puzzled. Park Sejun was able to be alone. Climbed to the 40th floor of the Black Tower. You know, in the 10 years since the appearance of the Black Tower, not a single awakened yet. Able to climb 40 floors in such a short time. But what Kim Dongji didn't know was, Park Sejun is now located on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. That's when it happened. Park Sejun's younger brother Park Se-sil said, I envy the life of the awakened. He wondered if there was a chance. You can also join the Phoenix Guild where JD is located. Hu Shurshur didn't finish speaking. Was fed a discus stick by his father. After all, there is a man. I want to see both sons go up to the battlefield. At this time, Jin Dongji hurriedly came out to ease the atmosphere. He expressed the awakened. It is indeed a high-risk profession. There is a high chance that you will get injured when fighting monsters. Even loss of sex. See that no more information can be gathered. Kim Dongji got up and prepared to leave. He's out of the tower. It's non-stop. To complete Mr. Park Sejun's mission. I don't know if my daughter is angry. Kim Dongji had to hurry home to wake up. That's when it happened. The Black Tower system sent a reminder to complete the agreement. This means the contract signed by Kim Dong-aeo and Theo has been completed. Suddenly his phone was connected. The voice of her daughter was heard. Suddenly, Kim Dong-sik seemed to be a different person. He excitedly told himself to be careful ever. He brought back his daughter's favorite things from the Black Tower. Then he kicked the accelerator and slammed it to death at home. Meanwhile, wandering merchant cat Theo, still on the way back to the 99th floor of the Black Tower. That's when he realized for the first time that the road was quite long. This is agricultural knowledge that cannot be learned in 9 years of compulsory education. Just take the leftover carrot roots from the rabbits. Soak in water for a few days. Wait until the carrots have grown into thin seedlings. It's the best time to plant it in the soil. At this time, planters are putting carrots that grow seedlings. Place it in a dug soil pit. Then cover it up with the soil. Only the green foliage remains. You successfully planted carrots. There was a slight increase in the proficiency of sowing skills at the poles of the roots. Then wait a few more days. Carrots planted in the soil will grow flowers. This means that the seeds have been successfully collected. I vaguely remember it in the movie The Martian. There is such a sentence. As long as crops are planted somewhere, it's officially your colony. So in other words, Black Tower, it's now my colony. The Black Tower administrator tells you, haven't eaten sweet potatoes yet. Dry look. To the administrator's reminder. That's when I remembered. Cooked sweet potato fries have been drying for several days. I hurriedly came with the rabbits to check on the dried sweet potatoes. Introduce the eye. It's a myriad of sweet potatoes that have been curled up slightly in the sun. Seeing this, I picked up one of the dried sweet potatoes. Sunbathed sweet potatoes look very textured. A touch of starch wraps around its surface. I can't wait to try it. Then I stuffed it straight into my mouth and chewed it. This tastes and this texture. Properly dry the surface. It captures the moisture and sugar of sweet potatoes very well. The soft and glutinous texture is addictive. Even the rabbits were full of praise after eating it. Can't stop at all. Dried potatoes with sweet potatoes roasted over a fire. Dry and 24-hour exposure to the sun. It is very good to lock in the sweetness and moisture of sweet potatoes. It has a chewy and sweet texture. Delicious. It's addictive. After tasting sweet potatoes, I can't hide the joy in my heart. This is definitely a must-have snack for watching dramas at home and blowing water in your spare time. I hurriedly picked up the plate of green onions. Collect them all. Black Tower. The administrator asks if you have forgotten something. See a reminder. I just remembered that I hadn't fed my administrator yet. But I looked at the bowl full of dried sweet potatoes in my hand. Lost in thought. The administrator said he wanted to try it quickly. Asked him to complete the sweet potato junction as soon as possible. However, a brilliant idea occurred to me. Then put down the dried sweet potato. Turning his head to look for something in his backpack. The administrators are all underestimated by me. Actually, I think it's not very convenient to give food to the caretaker every time. I wanted to make some changes this time, but the administrator said angrily, "Don't need those bells and whistles." He just wanted to eat delicious dried sweet potatoes right away. Congratulations, Adams. Your takeaway has been packed. It's awesome and people. Quasi-social handicrafts are my forte. After all, it's the first time you've eaten dried sweet potatoes. To protect their moisture, so it can be stored for a long time in a bag. The administrator didn't say a word. Fell silent. I wondered if I didn't want the sweet potatoes to dry. The administrator then reacted and thanked me. Look at the other party's cold reaction. I was immediately disappointed. I thought the admin would love me with the new packaging. Meanwhile, the administrator who received the dried sweet potato trembled. Although Park Sejun doesn't know, these sweet potatoes are dried for administrators. It's just a mouthful of things. But the admin is not averse to the package. Instead, he enthusiastically said that this package is too exquisite. He was reluctant to even eat them. The scene returns to the dungeon. Only a few minutes passed. The dried sweet potatoes were frantically wiped out for nearly 40 points. I even had a hunch. These dried sweet potatoes will definitely not last a day. That's when it happened. The queen bee flew over. I hurriedly asked the other party what was wrong. I saw that the queen bee would be a large and small object. Slowly place it in the palm of my hand. Congratulations on obtaining the corn pollen ball level 2 beekeeping skill. Proficiency is slightly increased. I was stunned when I saw the system's reminder. It turns out that these are pollen collected from cornfields. So the bees didn't collect honey. Instead, pollen was collected. Maybe it is caused by the lack of honey in corn. Thinking of picking up the pollen ball that queen bee handed me. In that case, I'm going to taste the pollen dough and how it tastes. Immediately I happily put the pollen ball in my mouth. After tasting it, I quickly thanked the queen of bees. The pollen dough has a marshmallow-like texture, and bitter with sweet. The taste is very unique. It also makes a great snack. I heard that a queen of bees was going to. His people gave a directive. Hundreds of little bees flew in my direction, and brought with him countless pollen balls that had already been collected. I was thinking about what to do with this stuff. Suddenly, an exclamation interrupted my train of thought. Originally, it's the best merchant in our dungeon, who sucks the medicine back. After entering the dungeon, Theo's expression changed from joy to joy, just because an unfamiliar face appeared in front of his eyes. Seeing this, Theo immediately became furious. I hurriedly stepped forward to explain to Theo, the queen of bees is our friend. It turned out that the two of them had not met yet. It's no wonder this is the case. The queen of Wenyan bees. They were also happy to send Theo their greeting gift. Pollen balls. However, as a cat, Theo is allergic to pollen. Then he sneezed a few times into my clothes. I was trying to teach Theo a lesson. This is not polite when the cat. Theo hurriedly said that his mission was going very well. The tasks ordered by the boss have all been completed. Hearing me, I hurriedly crouched down and asked Theo, is the delivery to my house already complete? I saw Theo checking the system, while telling me that the contract has been shown to be completed. Then flipped the screen over. Sure enough, the face is a word that shows the completion of the contract. Immediately Theo said, he'll be there next time he catches the market. Go check with that human. Specifics. Please also rest assured by the boss. 1 yen. I completely let go of the stone in my heart. I am very pleased with the responsible attitude of Western medicine. And the reason why I'm in such a hurry is very simple. When I entered the tower, I didn't have time to tell my family. I'm afraid they don't even dream of it. I was farming with the rabbits. That guy was going to laugh at me for it. If it's dad, maybe more interested in planting. Think about it this way. My planting talent may be his. Inherit it to me. Mom, there is no doubt that a big pot of kimchi soup will be prepared for me. Come to think of it, I suddenly want to be reunited with my family. I don't know how they're doing now. Suddenly, a small hand was on my lap. It turned out that the little black rabbit saw my emotions. He gathered all the fires. Look at the familiar faces in front of you. Yes, they're not my family. Suddenly, my sad mood vanished. Every single one of them is my family. And the most wonderful employee, Theo. That's the case. What more do you want than a bicycle? When Yen Theo proudly pulled out the package. He wants to prove who is the best family member. Except for the 50 tats spent on the contract. And 14.2 tat dollars spent on purchasing supplies. The remaining 208.8 TLBS is the entire proceeds of the trip. I was shocked to see this. I didn't expect Theo to go out and sell tomatoes every time and refresh their turnover. Immediately, Theo said that it was all good guidance from the boss. After the auction is conducted, humanity itself stupidly inflated the price. Theo then shook off a few items from the package. Presumably, these were the supplies he had procured from the Black Tower. Pots and pans have it all. Look at familiar tools. I was blown away, because it's been a long time since I've seen the tools of human society. After these tools enter the Black Tower, it was also marked with detailed information by the system. Cast iron pans are made of cast iron. The sturdy handle is wrapped in wood, so the user can use it comfortably. No restrictions on use. The manufacturer is not disclosed. The item level is land. Suddenly, an object on the ground caught my attention. It's the dagger. It's been since I entered the Black Tower. See a real weapon for the first time. Short-nosed hands are limited to 10 levels and above. Strength 5 and above. The manufacturer is not disclosed. Ranked as level 1. See a few question marks for the prompt. I felt like I hurriedly asked Theo where he came from. When Yin Theo told me without looking back. All of these are discounted at the blacksmith shop. I snapped up the stock at the time of clearance. I was even more confused when I heard it. But the good thing, I'm just meeting the value of the short-sighted limit right now. Am I going to use him? That's when it happened. A message from the admin said, in case of reckless use of unevaluated items, plus sizes may be available. Immediately after that, several reminders popped up. The administrator of the Black Tower says he'll help you identify the dagger. A new quest opens. Give the unidentified short dagger to the tower keeper. There are no rewards for completion. If you refuse, you will lose the opportunity for identification. A new quest opens. Give a roasted sweet potato as a gift to the tower manager. Reward the opportunity to identify the dagger. Refusal will not bring back your dagger. Good fellows are gluttonous. The administrator spins his pin in circles with his bare hands. It's just to pit my dried sweet potatoes. The one-yen administrator strongly refused. It said, the reason for this is not because I want to eat dried sweet potatoes. But the next second, the administrator's actions were also transmitted through text. The administrator is wiping his saliva, although very angry. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. I want to get an appraisal. It is inevitable to pay a certain price. Administrators are using their assessment techniques. The administrator said it was lucky. He does not cause damage to props. The next second, the dried sweet potato in my left hand was taken away by the administrator. In exchange with it, the dagger is back in my hand. Mission accomplished. As a reward for completing a mission, you have acquired Keynes's training dagger. Captain of the Bronze Mountain Knights. The short dagger that Keynes trained to use as a child. The blade is made of black iron for added weight. Quite heavy for a dagger. He mixes with a small amount of dense tones in the production process. Therefore, the short dagger once sharpened, its sharpness will remain for a long time. Usage limit level 10 and above. Strength 5 and above. The manufacturer is the blacksmith Raven Black Hammer Dwarf. The item level is B. The proficiency skill is E level. Skill mastery increased by 5% for all daggers. After reading the equipment attributes, I was shocked. This is actually a weapon named after a character. You must know that it is within the Awakening Guild of HBO. Equipment with character names. The lowest selling price is in billions. Because they are extremely rare. Therefore, it is also known as rare-named equipment. Then I looked nervously at Theo. Could this really be what he snatched from the big sale? Theo seems to be very rare about the equipment, though. Nothing. On the other hand, Theo has an unseen good fortune in him. Especially his hands full of good fortune. Outside the dungeon at the same time, the gears of fate began to turn. A life form with a feather. It is constantly squirming in the grass. Then he jerked his nose out towards the dungeon. Suddenly, he jerked his head to look at the screen. You guessed it right. A new character from the Black Tower is about to begin. Be a full-time farmer. What is the experience of owning a weapon? The man held a dagger. The whole body erupted with majestic momentum. In the next second, the green onion in front of me was chopped into shreds. Only bare rhizomes are left swaying in the wind. Even the bunnies who don't know how to fight. They also praised my skills. And the hero of all this is the wandering merchant Theo the cat. And rightfully so. Got an hour of rep benefit events. Suddenly, there was a wonderful touch in my hand. It turned out to be the palm of Theo's Puff Puff. It seems that he has more than just good luck. Theo's claws were soft to the touch. It was so comfortable, and I hugged it. Kizio put it in his arms. Theo also seems to be aware of the boss. Park Sejun's strangeness. After all, Park Sejun is still a human being. No human being can escape his claws. Followed by, Theo commanded the boss in an extremely arrogant tone. Help him with massage. But I still keenly smell the conspiracy. Then he picked Theo up violently. Then put him on the ground. It's not a coincidence. That's the end of your delegate time. All benefits will cease to be provided. When Yen Theo hurriedly grabbed the boss's thigh and prayed. How could he stop, just about to enjoy? Seeing Park Sejun, he was unmoved. Theo decided to play his last hole card. Forthwith, emptied all the contents of the package. If you can, he really wanted to throw them in Park Sejun's face and wait. See what is on the ground. I was shocked. It turned out to be a variety of condiments for human society. You know, I've been eating raw vegetables for half a year. Hell knows how obsessed I am with the taste of these condiments. Then I couldn't wait to take a sip of the salt. It's this familiar feeling. The salty, fine sand taste stimulates my taste buds. Even saliva secreted involuntarily took a big mouthful. And this familiar and pungent paprika. And hot pot base. In the past 6 months, I have been nostalgic for these smells all the time. Seeing this, Western medicine struck while the iron was hot and put forward his request. I don't know with these. After hearing this, I excitedly picked up the Western medicine. How could it be 2 hours of time? Anyway, it has to be done for 24 hours to be decent. Thereupon, Theo was in the excited shouts of the boss Park Sejun. Opened his own day to represent the welfare time. The screen turns. It was early the next morning. Puffs of smoke slowly dispersed from the entrance of the dungeon. Can't wait to try the condiments. For this reason, I have carefully made delicious grilled fish skewers. Soon, the dungeon was also covered in a fragrant smell. The rabbits, who love grilled fish, are all woken up by the smell. I saw that the rabbits all woke up. I hurriedly beckoned them to find a seat to sit down, because the landlord in front of them is the landlord. Deluxe breakfast lineup. There is not only an unlimited amount of grilled fish and grilled green onions. There are also dried sweet potatoes and cherry tomatoes for dessert after meals. Soon the rabbits each took a skewer of grilled fish. But the white rabbits, I can't seem to accept the taste of paprika. Only the warrior black rabbit said that he liked it very much. At this time, I looked at Theo, who was still asleep. I didn't expect the cat who usually likes grilled fish the most. I hadn't woken up yet. Then I came to Theo with a skewer of grilled fish, ready to wake up with the grilled fish I prepared for him. Serve, however. Theo wakes up to see the skewer in Park Sejun's hand. But he frowned. Absolutely intolerable. How dare you cut the delicious grilled fish? This behavior is extremely disrespectful to the sacred fish. Really, it has to be eaten with a whole fish grilled to make a cat more satisfied. Wait until after breakfast. We're all getting into the work on the farm. After several days of dagger use, I've become very skilled. Haynes training short dagger. And not only for combat. It can also be used for farming. As expected, weapon proficiency has only increased by 5% so far. The named props are really different. I had to work harder to improve my proficiency. I then handed Theo the tomatoes I had picked. But the other party looked at me with a dissatisfied face. Theo didn't understand that he was a great representative. Why do these? Seeing this, I told him solemnly. I'm working hard as a corporate president. Besides, you're just as a corporate sales representative. If you want to be promoted, the premise. It is to do your job first. In this way, you have the opportunity to become the president of the company. Hearing this, Theo immediately regained his fighting spirit. He's going to have to work harder to become president. Once you can become president, he will definitely make the former president Park Sejun perform a kneeling board on him every day. Thereupon, Theo was in a cheerful mood and full of packages. Go out and set up a stall again. I hurriedly reminded Theo again. Wait for him to pass by the shop again. Actual procurement of the materials we need. And it encountered a clearance sale. Be sure to snap it up. I can't waste Theo's so good luck in vain. Soon Theo said goodbye to me and hurried away. And I continued to harvest the ripe tomatoes. You have harvested 6 ripe magical cherry tomatoes at the same time. Your work experience has increased considerably. Proficiency in harvesting techniques. 3 to a significant increase as a result of proficiency. Take it up 1 level. Harvesting proficiency increased by an additional 5%. You have gained 90 experience points. Wen and I fell into deep thought. This doesn't seem to be the original harvested experience. Seeing this, I hurriedly opened the tomato noodle plate. Magical cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes grown on the tower are nutritious and tasty. When consumed, it can break down 20 grams of body fat, increases mana by 0.2 for 10 minutes, and energizes the body. Up to 10 cherry tomatoes can be stacked in an hour. The cultivator is Przewala Tanyon. The shelf life is 60 days. The crop grade is grade D. Sure enough, crop small tomatoes. The display level has been changed from E to D. Its functional attributes have almost doubled. Not only able to dissolve 20 grams of fat, increases mana by 0.2. Even the shelf life has been increased to 60 days. Judging by this change, the grade of the crops seems to be the same as mine. Levels are closely related. If needed, it would have been nice to leave later. I was able to negotiate a better sales plan with him. Put the ground grade tomatoes. Sell to humans at a higher price. Meanwhile, on the top floor of the Black Tower, Administrator Aaron arrives at his own small vault. I saw him slowly come to a statue. Ice Sculpture Black Dragon, by Caesar Fertani, in the form of Aaron Fertani, an ice statue made from ice fragments from the Blue Penguin Kingdom. However, the next second, the ice sculpture was broken by the Administrator Aaron's own hands. Instead, it is a delicately packaged dried sweet potato given to him by Park Sejun. It turned out that he was not reluctant. Eat the delicately wrapped dried sweet potatoes. The caretaker even hid him in his own small vault. Administrator Aaron then pulls out a crystal ball. He wants to see what Park Sejun is doing now. I saw the crystal ball appear. Park Sejun and the rabbits are resting. It seems that he did not realize it. The great black dragon Irene scouts the area. But Administrator Irene, something terrible seems to have been discovered. At this time, Park Sejun and the rabbits, lying on the dungeon rocks taking a nap. Unaware of the impending danger, the administrator hurriedly shouted loudly, "Let Park Sejun get up quickly. The Black Tower caretaker says it's not the time to sleep. There is now a monster standing above the dungeon." What monsters appeared? Black Tower administrator hurriedly issued an expulsion order to the monster. However, at this time, the red-haired monster was so frightened that the soles of his feet slipped, fall down towards the dungeon. Seeing this, I hurriedly strode forward, rush in the direction of the falling red-haired monster. The inertia is, I caught him before he fell to the ground. I quickly looked down at his system panel. The baby of the giant red bear. At this time, Sejun was also full of curiosity about Park Sejun. It was the first time he had seen a human being. No one thought of it. A ferocious and brutal flaming giant bear. His offspring turned out to be a chubby, cute little bear. It all started last week. Flame Bear inadvertently found the dungeon where the rabbits and I lived. Another accidentally stepped on the air, falling from the top of a 10-meter-high dungeon. Luckily, I awakened with agility. The Flame Bear is all right. Look at the cute bear in front of you. I didn't have an idea for a while. That's when it happened. The Black Tower caretaker asked me, why be so zealous to catch the bear? When I heard that I was about to refute him, then the administrator told me to send the bear away. Because of the exodus of the bear, his mother must have been searching for her in the neighborhood. When yin, I quickly put down the bear. Do you really want to send him away? It's better to wait for his mother to come and look for it. It's good to go back. The words just fell. The administrator immediately sent me an alert. The Flame Bear is a very gluttonous monster in the Black Tower. They will eat all the food in the cave. But I watched. A flaming bear who gets along well with the rabbits. Is he exactly a good baby? How could such a terrible thing happen? At this time, the queen bee happened to fly over with her little brothers. Immediately, the Flame Bear's attention was diverted, jumping up and running towards the queen bee. But how could the little bees agree? Directly turn on the red-eye rampage mode, staring at the bear viciously. The Flame Bear was immediately frightened and ran to my legs. Seeing this, I hurriedly explained the bear to the bees. He is not an enemy, but the Flame Bear has already cried pear blossoms with rain, trembling all over. I hurried to keep comforting his emotions. I didn't expect the bear to be interested in bees at such a young age. If you grow up, I'm afraid I'll just pick up the honeycomb. Then I asked the queen bee for a little honey. I heard that the bee queen didn't say a word, spit out a large chunk of fresh honey. Then he threw it into the palm of the bear's hand. After seeing the delicious honey, the bear suddenly lost his tears. I think it is because of the scent of bees on the queen bee attracted the bears. Because bears are creatures that love honey very much. It's only been 2.5 minutes. The bear ate all the honey. I quickly asked him if he still wanted honey. The administrator was directly shocked when he heard this. He'd never seen me so cheerful. In the way the food was divided, a system task was sent to me. Kick the crimson baby bear out of the burrow. Tasks reward a job skill. If you refuse the task, you will starve to death, said the Black Tower administrator. He was now very angry with the Flame Bear. Said the Black Tower administrator, he's just driving away. A monster that may pose a threat to his tower gate. I can't stand it. The Flame Bear is just a child. You do the same to him. If it weren't for you at the time, it scared me. I'm not going to be in that situation, said the Black Tower administrator. He is also a teacher of the heartless. The Black Tower administrator orders you to do his job right away. But when he heard the administrator say that he had no heart, I fell silent. That's why I came to the dungeon on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. It's also because of the administrator's unintentional teacher. I really shouldn't have been here. But it is these coincidences that bring us together. But it is precisely because of these coincidences. Let's make a connection. Isn't it, Wanyan? The administrator gave me a thoughtful look. Immediately, the administrator of the Black Tower said, you can do whatever you want. After speaking, he simply did not reply. I didn't expect the administrator to be so stingy. I just said a few words to him and got angry. Let the bear play in the dungeon for a few days. I'll send him back. Everything worked out. Then I hurriedly picked up the Flame Bear and tell him that he is safe now. Don't be afraid. But he doesn't know when. Snoring. When you can, and the cutest bear in the Black Tower. Sinbad, what an experience. He is the most ferocious monster in the Black Tower. Descendants of the Flame Bear. But he was viciously spoken by the administrator Black Dragon Irene, and ordered Park Sejun to kick him out of the dungeon. However, I don't take the admin's words seriously. But soon, I ate the dragon I had planted with my own hands. Early the next morning, I haven't woken up from my sleep yet, and the bear next to me is long gone. I saw it in a hidden corner of the dungeon. A red figure was snorting. The sound of smacking. At this time, the warrior Black Rabbit happened to come out of the hut. Suddenly, he was completely awake from the scene in front of him. The scream of the Black Rabbit woke up the people in the Black Tower. Immediately after that, I sat up from the bed. What the hell is going on? noisy early in the morning. Then I came to the place where the rabbits gathered. By this time, the rabbits were already swearing in front of them. Very angry. I want to see the scene in front of me. I was also completely blown away. I saw countless fruit and vegetable remains scattered on the ground. There was a stack of grain stored in the storehouse. All disappeared mysteriously. All that remained was a red figure standing on the side, and the half of the carrot in his mouth. It was exactly yesterday, and I ignored the admin's objections. The flame bear that took in. I didn't expect to be retributed so soon. A place where carrots and sweet potatoes are stored in a warehouse. Almost swept clean by the bear. The warrior black rabbit is also angry. Pick up the hammer and smash it at the bear. After I took a closer look, thankfully, it's somewhere else. Stock some carrots and sweet potatoes. And where cherry tomatoes are hidden. I didn't hide it all. That's when it happened. The bear couldn't stand being beaten by the rabbits. Then he hurried towards me, followed by. I picked up the crying bear in front of me and was about to blame. But what surprised me even more. Only 1 day passed. The bear's body has grown bizarrely. But I quickly came to my senses. I should have listened to the administrator yesterday. Send the bear away. Otherwise, it wouldn't have led to the current situation. One of the administrators said it himself. The flame bear is the most voracious monster in the Black Tower. They can easily eat 100 pounds of food in a day. I bowed my head and apologized to the administrator. I thought the caretaker had seen me feeding the bears. In the resulting jealousy, I didn't expect to find out that the clown turned out to be me. The administrator graciously accepted my apology, then pointed out sharply. Now the way to break the game is to send the bear away as soon as possible. But I looked at the cute bear in my arms, still a little reluctant. But in the end, I got to focus on the big picture. Soon I made rope from green onion leaves and firmly tied to the flame bear. The next step is to send the bear away. Before I stood up, after signaling to the rabbits on the other end of the rope, then I sounded the battle horn. Daddy Rabbit with 5 brothers Rabbit. They all pulled the rope with all their might. Even the little bees used their strength to suck the pollen. Unexpectedly, the flame bear did manage to break free from the ground. This is indeed a spectacle in the Black Tower. It can be a juvenile flame bear, where to experience the thrill of gravity. I can only keep shaking my body to get back to the ground. That's when it happened. I handed over a large chunk of fresh honey in time to stop his anxiety, although I was very reluctant to let the bear go. But now he must return to his mother's arms. I waved at the bear. Signal goodbye. Flame bear seemed to understand what I meant. At the same time, he smiled and waved at us. Signal goodbye. Meanwhile, the system sends a message that the task is complete. I got the class passive skill collecting seed. At the time of harvesting crops, slightly increases the chances of getting better seeds. The screen turns. The rabbits return to the dungeon. It seems that they have succeeded in sending the bear back. Near the bear cave. Finally solved this headache. We looked at the grain warehouse that the bear had destroyed. Suddenly, a feeling of weakness appeared all over the body. I looked at the rabbit couple on the side. This time thanks to them and their 5 children. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to handle this perfectly. That's how I got along with the rabbits. A few days passed. I thought the bear storm was over. But a huge figure appeared. It makes me feel like it's not that simple. Only above the dungeon, the flame bear greeted us happily, and the flaming giant bear beside him. But it made us break out in a cold sweat. Although it is not the first time I have met him. But this time, are they here to repay the favor or take revenge? Flame bear smacked. You can eat up all the 100 caddies of reserve grain. But I didn't dare do anything to him. I had no choice but to send the bear out of the dungeon. Soon the flame bear came to the entrance of the dungeon again. He's not alone this time. Flame bear took his mother to the dungeon. The bear seems to be talking to his mother. Look at Mom. This is the restaurant I was talking about earlier. Just as I kept guessing the intentions of the 2 flame bears, a terrible thought was born from within me. Flame bear. I don't think it's because I kidnapped his child. Therefore swallow me alive. It's over. Mom, Dad, brother. Take care, brother. I probably won't be able to go back this time. Suddenly, I think of the day when the flame bear was stealing the granary. He seems to have a strong aversion to tomatoes. I didn't eat any of them. Just listen to the plop. I fell to my knees. Dear Uncle Bear, please, I will stop loving tomatoes for the sake of life. Don't think about eating me. Suddenly, the reminder popped up by the administrator of the Black Tower made me shudder. I saw the administrator say, Flame bear, they weren't trying to eat me. The Black Tower administrator also said, just give them honey, and you're good to go. Listen to the administrator's explanation. I still don't dare to relax. Is it really that simple? Suddenly, the flame bear screamed at the dungeon. Then he reached into the dungeon. I looked at the giant hand that stopped in front of me and was overwhelmed. Suddenly, the Black Tower administrator said as the price of sharpness. The flame bear will protect the nearby ward 1 yen. The rabbits and I were overjoyed. Finally, you don't have to worry about safety anymore. Immediately I stopped hesitating. Readily accede to the bear's request for sharpness, said the Black Tower administrator. The flame bear wants you to ride in his hands. Hearing this, I hurriedly sat on the giant head. With the help of the flame bear, I slowly rose towards the opening of the cell. This is the first time I've been out of a dungeon since I've entered it. Look at the plants that thrive in the dungeon. I was relieved. I'm really grateful to them for being able to grow so well. If not, I probably wouldn't have lived to be today. Now I can get out of the dungeon. I can't help but be a little excited. Suddenly, there was a dazzling sunlight ahead. I can't open my eyes. Wait until you see what you see. I was taken aback. What catches your eye is the continuous mountains towering. I was completely stunned by the beauty in front of me. Is this really inside the Black Tower? Suddenly I saw something in the distance. A sparkle. At this time, the administrator reminded. There is the waypoint on the 99th floor. Black Tower waypoint. Name implies. Waypoints. It is the only hunter who can enter from outside the tower. Devices for moving floors. I was very excited to hear this. Wouldn't this be an opportunity for me to return to the first floor of the Black Tower? Then you can go out of the Black Tower smoothly. But it's like passing through this endless mountain range. I couldn't have walked there on 2 legs. Then I asked the flame bear, can you send me to that shining place? I saw the Black Tower administrator translating to me. The flame bear refuses to you. He explained that it was not the territory of the giant bear. If you want to pass without a hitch, stop at least 3,000 monsters. Sure enough, things didn't go as smoothly as expected. I didn't expect there to be more than 3,000 monsters on the road. Then the flame bear gestured into the distance. According to the administrator's translation, the territory of the giant bear is from the inside of the forest to the surrounding areas. It is said that most of the monsters. It is rare to come to this place where the wasteland is connected. If you leave the territory of the giant bear, it's up to you to protect yourself. That's when it happened. The rabbits in the dungeon ran out. Warrior Black Rabbit is even more intimate to put my black backpack. Bought out. The flame bear saw that it was a black rabbit. I can't hide my excitement. I picked him up. Looked at. The warrior Black Rabbit also gently stroked the bear's head. Breathing room. The queen bee was almost sucked away by the flame bear. That's when I remembered. Honey in return has not yet been offered. Forthwith, I took out the honey from my backpack that I had stored in advance. The little bear who saw the honey suddenly shed on the ground. Forthwith, I poured a full spoonful of honey for Flame Bear. At this time, the Flame Bear smelled the fragrance and came over. Maybe he'd like a little honey too. I saw the administrator translating to me. Now Giant Bear said it was okay for him. Just give it all to the bears. Because food is scarce in the vicinity during this time. So the child's development is not very good. But he found out on the day he found the child. I found that the bear had gained a whole circle. When Yin smiled awkwardly. I'm running out of food. Can you not get fat? Immediately afterwards the bear said that especially the effect of honey. It's definitely a big tonic for the bears. The queen of One Yin Bee hurriedly hid behind my back. That's when I hurriedly asked the bear. Because I learned from the Black Tower administrator. Flame bears usually eat a lot. I wonder if you have anything to eat right now. Hear my inquiry. The flame bear said pitifully. He had been hungry for 3 days in search of this cave. The only restaurant in the dungeon is found by the flame bear. The Department of Progress hurry overnight. No food or drink for 3 days and 3 nights. After learning the truth, I decided to give up the idea of leaving the Black Tower for the time being. Then he immediately turned around, beckoning bunnies to get ready for battle. Theo bought me the equipment. Finally there is a place for him. This will be me in the dungeon. One of the most hearty meals I've ever made. Soon the warrior Black Rabbit. He perfectly played his hammer skills. The collection of piranha ingredients is complete. Side Rabbit. All vegetable ingredients are also cut quickly. The cut ingredients are collected. Right now, it is the Oriental of Xiang that I've studied for 2.5 years. Culinary demonstrations. Just master the heat. You can stew fresh ingredients until they are moderately soft. And with the tip of my tongue with incredible precision, taste whether the seasoning is saturated. It's just a pot of oily piranha meat. The tomato and carrot broth is baked. The side dish that goes well with is hundreds of roasted tomatoes and roasted green onions. Look at the gorgeous fish stew in front of you. And countless grilled piranhas. The flame bear and his child. The son can't help but open his cherry mouth wide. Although we don't have many ingredients. But I can guarantee it. The taste is certainly something they've never tasted before. And as a mother who raises her children, it is also necessary to ensure the health of the body. His child's growth path can be more perfect. The words just fell. I was grabbed by a giant hand. I saw another giant hand. Towards the warrior Black Earth and the Scythe Rabbit. Immediately 1 person and 2 rabbits. I felt the greatest love since I was born. Maybe it's because what I'm saying is too touching. Or maybe it's because the appearance of Park Sejun's long-term meal ticket. Let the flame bear them. Sweep away the joy of hunger. The screen turns. The Black Tower caretaker looked at the crystal ball, silently sighed. And above the crystal ball, shown as a flame bear, is affectionately thanking Park Sejun. Originally, started when the flame bear first left the dungeon. The Black Tower administrator began to keep a close eye on his movements. He was very worried that the bear would call his mother, go and attack Park Sejun. I don't know why, though. Flame bear. It seems to want to establish a friendly bond with humans. Look that. The Black Tower caretaker had informed the flame bear in advance. He will help convey the message of the giant bear to humans. Unexpectedly, the accident gave Park Sejun hope of escaping. But at this time, the Black Tower administrator is not worried about this. Instead, he expressed his happiness that Park Sejun came out of the dungeon, because once Park Sejun's Mangtheon field expanded, this also means, administrator, he'll have more good food. And now Park Sejun has the protection of the flame bear. There are fewer things for administrators to think about. As expected, I'm the genius Black Irene Frida. Come to think of it, the administrator couldn't help but let out a happy laugh. Meanwhile, on the middle floor of the Black Tower, this is the headquarters of the Inspectorate of the Wandering Merchants Guild. I saw a mysterious person, holding the details of the Wandering Merchant Cat Theo. I'm looking it up. This person is the same person who was previously undercover Agent Zerat in the Wandering Merchants Guild. At that time, because of Theo's righteousness and bravery, cleverly smashed the agent's fishing operation. Agent Zerat who changed clues. I had to start investigating from Theo, but the information he currently has to identify Theo is just too little. Theo is a novice businessman, but it has an endless stream of superb sales methods. It's incredible. Suddenly a sweet puppy dressed up by a secretary walked in with a stack of papers. Sir Zerat, Black Tower. There used to be a warehouse of a big landlord named Grit. There was a theft, and there are reports. A small number of stolen items are currently on the black market. At the request of the director, I have prepared a list of stolen items. Director Wonyen Zerat walked over unhurriedly. He has something very important to go out about right now. Agent Zerat decided. Check out the list in detail when you get back. This time, he will definitely find out the details of Theo. Theo at this time. What the hell are you doing? Ingeniously, Theo also came to the middle floor of the Black Tower at this time, and from the hands of small vendors, bought a delicious skewer of grilled fish cakes. I made an amicable agreement with the two flame bears. I'm in charge of their 3 meals a day in the Black Tower. Flame bear, it's to protect my life in the dungeon. Early in the morning, I'm the same as always. Let Mother Bear take me out of the dungeon. Forthwith, I wrapped 50 caddies of dry food in advance with green onion leaves. Hand it to the giant bear, and tell the other party that this is his meal today. Be sure to keep it properly. Then the bear left his cub, started his day on patrol, and yet I am. Outside the dungeon was not idle. Get ready to try it with the bunnies. Cultivating crops in new land. But soon I had my first problem. The soil outside the dungeon is not only extremely dry, and the surface of the soil is filled with many hard stones. This led me and the rabbit to work on the reclamation. Progress is difficult. That's when it happened. There was a noise next to me. I saw the flame bear cub on the side dig quickly into the soil with his hard palms. What surprised me even more, it didn't take a while. He dug up several acres of land. Look at the well-behaved giant bear cubs. I was overjoyed. I didn't expect his small body. He has such a strong talent for farming. Now my work with the rabbits will be much easier. But I watched the cubs of the giant bear eating sweet potatoes. I didn't expect him to go through a few days. Grown up a lot. Thinking of what he did in the dungeon, I just felt creepy. The screen turns. I put the prepared sprouted sweet potatoes. Put them into the small pits that have been dug one after another. Then let the rabbit use a shovel to cover the soil over the sweet potato. Due to possessing a talent for increased proficiency, increases the effective seeding skills at level 3 by an additional 5%. There is a slight increase in your work experience. The likelihood of sweet potatoes rooting increases. Meanwhile, baby bear behind me. I'm digging frantically in the soil. It couldn't help but send a chill down my back. Wait for me to take a closer look. I saw the flame giant bear cub. An object that bears a striking resemblance to a sweet potato is revealed in the mouth. I hurriedly told him, this is not a game of treasure hunting. These sweet potatoes are the source of our future life. But I looked at the potholes that had been dug in front of me. Sure enough, the worst happened. The flame bear took the sweet potatoes that the rabbits and I had worked so hard to plant. Want to eat them all. Dry to clean looks. I want to be out of the dungeon smoothly. The first step in growing crops. It is the concept of the church flame bear planting.